This is my drone. And this is also my drone, but with a remotely controlled dropping mechanism trying to hit his eggs with a flower bomb and a steel rod. You know, just about a month ago I noticed a very weird thing. My drone is sad. All these military drones are exploding buildings and tanks, but he's just shooting my video ideas. Don't get me wrong, it's not like he's not in danger. He definitely is. But he is not the danger. So today I will fix that and build a dropping mechanism to test the accuracy with two different dropping concepts. You may have heard of the idea called rods from gold, and it's just as terrifying as it sounds. The US Army had an idea of dropping these 6-meter tall tungsten rods from space that would impact the ground with an energy equivalent to 11 tons of TNT. Well, my drone can't fly to space, because I only bought the Pro version and not the Pro Deluxe. But dropping metal rods from sky sounds scary even if it's not from space. The second concept is called bombs. And it's basically a bomb. But it unfortunately turned out that I can't just drop real bombs from a drone because it is illegal. Like that's ever killed it. So I logically thought that this video is over and I will just make a video about dropping apples and title it "Dropping Apples from a Drone to Prove Newton Was Wrong." But then I accidentally dropped a bag of flour in the kitchen and I got an idea. I can probably drop bombs from a drone if they are filled with something as harmless as flour. And I also realized that I will need to drop the flour in my kitchen again if I want to have it on camera. So what do I need to build a steel rod and the flour bombs? Exactly. A plastic skeleton with a rocket attached to him. And also some other things to test how much my drone can lift. So I attached some twine to my drone so I can attach things to it and try it. And that was really easy for my drone to lift, so we tried the toilet paper roll. And I hope that the toilet paper would roll out and create a beautiful toilet paper tail like in movies, but sadly that didn't happen and we just looked like weirdos flying a toilet paper. And after almost hitting a tree, we tested this 1 kilogram dumbbell plate, but that turned out to be too much. The maximum safe weight was about 0.6 kilograms with some water in this 5-liter bottle. So my drone can lift about 0.6 kilograms or 1.3 pounds. Yeah, where did I end? Yes, now I have to make the actual things I want to drop. So I bought a welding machine because I didn't have one, unpacked the wire, threw the box from the wire behind the closet and got to work. I took this pretty round metal rod and also this not so round metal door hinge which I hope no one needed. And after grinding, welding, cutting metal and yeah, that's all, I got this. Then I just sharpened the top because pointy is scary and now this thing looks really scary. The second thing I want to drop is, like I said, flour in the shape of a bomb. So I made this 3D model which has a hollow inside for the flour and a thread where I can screw in the fins. Then I woke up my 3D printer and printed it. Now I have the things I want to drop, but no way to actually drop them. My first idea was to use a radio transmitter with an Arduino and a servo motor, but then I got a better idea of stealing the idea from I Did a Thing. Because he also made a drone dropping device where he used the drone's bottom light and a mold that reacts to light to turn the servo and release the payload. Well, I really didn't want to accidentally harm any mold, so I used this photoresistor instead. Then I took a microcontroller, a servo and a battery, and after I connected it all together and burned myself with a soldering iron, I made this. Now I just have to program it so that when this photoresistor sees a bright light, it turns the servo. And after a while of programming, I made this code that somehow worked on the first try. But this obviously won't fit on my drone. So I made and 3D printed this mount I can put all the components on and it perfectly fits on the bottom light of the drone and is secured with Velcro. And I thought the flower bomb and steel rod looked scary, but this drone with some electronic components and wires all over it looks like 100 times worse. So let's test it. But before dropping steel rods from a few hundred meters high, I wanted to try something harmless and safe first. And I found these things that explode when you drop them. And besides being a really good thing for giving someone a heart attack, they are also a good demonstration of my invention. But they don't really have the weight that the rod or flower bomb has, so I also tried to drop something heavier. And the first thing I found happened to be this horn. And that worked on the first try and even on the second. So I told my friends I have another dead machine to test and we went to test it. Also I hope I don't have to tell you, do not try this. We literally went to the middle of nowhere just to make sure it couldn't fall on anything. Well, anything except these white eggs I painted on the ground. First we tested the rod from 10 meters, and that worked, so we went right to 100.
3, 2, 1.
And that was surprisingly close, and even made this terrifying sound while falling. But sadly my drone's camera was pointing in the exact opposite direction instead of down, because I am stupid and it didn't see the rod falling. Which is a shame, but it at least captured our beautiful Slovak landscape. Besides that, none of us saw the rod fall exactly, and we lost it. So we moved to the flower bombs. And even though I forgot the funnel to pour the flour inside the shell, after improvising a bit we managed to pour the flour inside, with some losses as you can see. But I had to be very precise, as I only had one try. So I took it straight up to 100 meters and... absolutely missed. And I also forgot to turn the drone's camera on. But luckily I lied to you that I had only one shell to build up tension, and I actually have like 7 more of these things. 2 of which I cracked because one broke in a bag and second my friend stepped on. So we tried again, and again poured 70% of the flour on the ground and 30% inside the shell. And then took it straight up to 250 meters, because that will obviously be much more accurate.
3, 2, 1.
And that theory somehow worked, as this time it was only off by 9 meters instead of 10. The next try I got another idea to pour the flour inside. This time using the cracked shell as a funnel and my finger as a mixer. And this try was the best one yet, as it was only off by about 50 centimeters. But my drone had probably enough at this point, because I ran out of video storage and again didn't have any drone footage from that drop. So it wasn't a complete failure, but I was determined to hit that X more than once. And I didn't tell you one thing. I found the rod. The next day I went there, and after an hour I accidentally tripped over it and found it. So I also took all the flower bombs I had left and we went to try it again. But we knew the big X was really hard to hit, and we needed a perfect drone position and very calm weather to hit it perfectly. Which we didn't have, so we just scaled the X up. Then I prepared my drone, attached the metal rod and flew it to 250 meters.
3, 2, 1.
And that hit the X perfectly. Well, not a big one, but at least it hit a small one that is much harder to hit. Next we tried the flower bomb, which was off by probably about 12 meters. And I ran out of paint, so I couldn't pretend there was another small X. The next try was from 100 meters, but it was also off by about 5 meters. But then I realized I only had one more flower bomb shell left. So we decided to give it all and went as high as possible.
3, 2, 1.
Well, obviously it was probably the most off-target hit in this entire experiment, by about 20 meters from the X, but it was very impressive. Then we picked up all the flower bomb shells so we don't damage nature and went home. And even though the drone probably wasn't designed to carry another 0.6 kilograms, it wasn't that bad at all. We managed to almost hit the X with the rod and the flower bomb, and most importantly, the mechanism works. For about 15 minutes, then the battery is dead. So if you want to bake a cake, just call me and I will deliver a fresh package of flour right through the roof of your house. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can subscribe and also check some of my other videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time.